can't believe that. I can't believe it, but you got to believe it. It just happened.
And this is Florida elections are always competitive, and this is a guy who, although he's much too liberal for Florida, I think he's got huge problems with how he's governed Tallahassee. He is an articulate spokesman for those far left views, and he's a charismatic candidate. And I watched those Democrat debates. None of that was my cup of tea, but I mean, he performed better than the other people there. So we've got to work hard to make sure that we continue Florida going in a good direction. Let's build off the success we've had on Governor Scott. The last thing we need to do is to monkey this up by trying to embrace a socialist agenda.
Yeah, I'm going to vote for the guy who called the black candidate a monkey.
We'll monkey this up.
Strategy. What he's doing is he's planting his flag and telling all the what he perceives to be the white racist voters of Florida, I'm your guy. Don't worry, I'm not going to let this, I can't even say it, right? Person take over.
Let's build off the success we've had on Governor Scott. The last thing we need to do is to monkey this up by trying to embrace a socialist agenda.
I am, and I wanted to get your reaction to what we just heard Congressman DeSantis say about you.
Well, I tell you, the congressman clearly plans on campaigning out of the Trump manual. But I think he's going to have a real big surprise on November 6th. I think people in this state are so sick of those kinds of politics of division, racialized politics, which I think, Trump tried to capitalize on in his election.
Gillum obviously, unfortunately, did not take the high road. But it's just simple English. Can we pay attention to the sentence structure here? If you're looking to what monkey this up is talking about, the subject is not Gillum, it's socialist agenda. Mm-hmm. Can we at least speak English here and look at it as normal thinking, feeling adults?
It's not as if it's just Republicans who have monkeyed around with elections in the past. Sometimes Democrats have too. It's not as if it's just Republicans who have monkeyed around with elections in the past. Sometimes Democrats have too.
I heard it right away, and I didn't hear it any other way than the way I heard it, which was racist, planned, prepared, and really ugly.
The last thing we need to do is to monkey this up by trying to embrace a socialist agenda with huge tax increases and bankrupting the state. That is not going to work. That's not going to be good for Florida. So I'm going to fight for what I believe in, because I think I'm the guy who can really lead Florida in a good direction.
It's because it's how white folks talk about black men who are successful.
It's not a dog whistle. When you say monkey in reference to an African American, he might as well have just said the N-word.
But to be a black woman in America, and different, from you people, it's very clear what race I am, when I walk in the room. Mm-hmm. But to be a black woman in America, and the governor of a major state like that calls us a monkey. In America, and the governor of a major state like that calls us a monkey.
After your primary win, you said Florida voters shouldn't, quote, monkey this up by electing Mayor Gillum. After your primary win, you said Florida voters shouldn't, quote, monkey this up by electing Mayor Gillum. You insisted your comments had nothing to do with race.
Sure, I called him articulate, and then I went on to say Florida shouldn't monkey this up by electing Andrew Gillum. Did I say that? Sure, I called him articulate, and then I went on to say Florida shouldn't monkey this up by electing Andrew Gillum.
Let's build off the success we've had on Governor Scott. The last thing we need to do is to monkey this up by trying to embrace a socialist agenda.
Monkey this up by electing Andrew Gillum. Did I say that? So again, man, I want to be clear. I really would not cover this unless I felt like I was really certain that, I think you did that one on purpose, dude. And I think he did. I think he did that one on purpose.
It is a terrible answer.
Why is everyone so afraid of calling these people liars? Right? Mm-hmm. You don't see it in headlines. You don't see it in reporting. If it's not a fact, it's a lie. I mean, it's one or the other. Which one is it? Why is it so? Is it just emotionally so difficult?
That's a great question.
Let's listen to that one more time.
The last thing we need to do is to monkey this up by trying to embrace a socialist agenda.
Okay, a spokesperson for DeSantis tells NBC News that DeSantis' comment, quote, had nothing to do with race or anything like that, and that it's something DeSantis says frequently to express something that was messed up or not done right.
The Florida Democratic Party calling it disgusting that DeSantis is launching his general election campaign with racist dog whistles. DeSantis' campaign insists the candidate was obviously talking about Florida not making the wrong decision to embrace the socialist policies that Andrew Gillum espouses. To characterize it as anything else is absurd.
We are showing among likely voters a 12-point advantage for Gillum, 54% to 42%. Now, I want to say this does not look like other polls that we have seen in this race. This is a bigger Gillum advantage. It's worth noting that every poll in this race since the primary in August has shown Gillum leading. It's worth noting that every poll in this race since the primary in August has shown Gillum leading. So I have little doubt that he's leading. The question here is he leading by that much? Will this poll be an outlier, or will, as we see successive polls, will we see a big Gillum advantage?
Andrew Gillum has officially conceded the Florida governor's race to Republican Ron DeSantis.
Take a look at the race according to the gender gap, and I think this helps explain why we're seeing such a big Gillum lead in this poll. Look at that. 60% of women are going for Gillum. That is a 26-point advantage.
And we have some important breaking news now, and that is that Andrew Gillum, the Democratic candidate for governor of Florida, says that he has called Ron